Hey all, welcome to ShareTrek. This is Raj here. Friends, I didn't do a video yesterday. I have been a bit preoccupied with stuff that's happening at my end, which is slightly out of control, and I'm getting on top of it. So I didn't find much time to actually think through and make a video. And also the fact remains that there isn't much happening among the watch list companies that we are looking at, except for CRISPR and Bluebird. And I have covered enough about it. So I didn't do that. So today I want to talk to you about what I think, both as an investor and also I'm looking at it from the point of view of how a patient would look at genomics. So I'm going to talk about a few concepts that will give you an idea of the potential of genomics going forward, not only as an investment, but also as giving therapy for patients going forward. So that's what I'm planning to do. And today you might see that I have a special guest with me. It's my dog, Cory. She's not been keeping very well of late. So at this point of time, she needs my company. So she's a bit clingy. So you see her sitting out here. But I think she'll get well soon. We are giving her the right kind of medicine and food and everything. So she should be fine. So that said, let's get started. Start off by saying that as soon as we had the discovery of CRISPR-Cas9, immediately the imagination started flying wild and people started conjuring up images of us being able to splice and dice the DNA, edit genetic errors and cure diseases that have not been cured so far, and give a lot of relief to patients. And slowly but steadily, as we started dwelling deeper and deeper into CRISPR-Cas9, we started realizing a whole lot of hurdles or constraints that were imposed on us. One of them was transportation. How do you take the CRISPR-Cas9 to each and every corner of the body to edit each and every different type of cells? So that was the first problem. The second problem was, how do you have a carrier that is big enough to take the huge molecule that is CRISPR-Cas9? And the third problem was some edits were causing unwanted side effects. And the fourth problem was the DNA self-repair mechanism, which is triggered when two stranded breaks are done, has got some interesting side effects, and sometimes it can be dangerous. So with all those knowledge, we started realizing the limitation of CRISPR-Cas9. Before that, people felt that now that we know how to edit DNA, we can just edit all the diseases out of our genome. But that's not quite how it turned out. And then we went ahead and we discovered prime editing and base editing. These accomplish edits without double strand breaks, so they avoided a good portion of all the issues that are there with CRISPR-Cas9. And in terms of transportation, we found LNP for liver destination of therapies. That liquid nanoparticle works very well out there. AAVs have got some amount of limitations because if you have been exposed to an AAV before, then the second time around, it's not going to be effective. So there are so many other constraints that came up as we started resolving some of the issues. So the way I look at it right now from the point of view of an investor is that we are just now entering into the most promising stage of genomics. And I say that because we are now deploying artificial intelligence into the area of genomic research in order to find patterns and try to identify diseases. So I'll elaborate more on this. This is going to be a two-part video. In the first part, what I want to communicate basically is that at this point of time, we are seeing sickle cell disease therapies, and we are also seeing Verve deliver liver-related therapy. All these are the low-hanging fruits, in my opinion. These are areas of genome that can be easily corrected, and naturally, genomic companies are trying to address these first and have some monetization under their belt before they handle more challenging conditions. Now, we have a scientific database of some mutation that we know for sure that causes a particular kind of health disorder. And those known mutations are the ones that the companies can like to target next. But then there is a constraint. How do you transport to those cells which have to be edited in order to resolve the disease? What kind of a transportation do we have? And is the transportation capable of carrying the big enough molecule? And is the location of edits on the DNA something that could cause carcinogenic effects if a double strand break happened? So those are the considerations that the companies have. And now, fortunately for us, we have different techniques. So where double strand breaks can cause problem, we could use single strand breaks and use prime or base editing to solve the issues. So that flexibility is there. And also we need more delivery mechanisms, more versatile delivery mechanisms to go to all cell types and edit all cell types. So the work is going on in that area as well. But as I mentioned earlier, we are just tackling the low-hanging fruits. So the successes that we see are early successes, and there could be a big gap from the early success to the next one. And the next success that we have might be on a more complex genetic editing that needs to be done in order to cure some disease. And the reason I'm saying that is because we still do not have a full understanding of the human genome. And if we were to compare the genome of various individuals, there is a lot of things that are common, but there are a lot of mutations as well, because the human genome is really huge. So among the variances that we see among individuals, not all the variances are harmful. Some of the variances are benign. Some of the variances do not mean much, but there are some variances that denote some kind of disorder. Now, identifying them is going to be a challenge, and having identified them and associating them with a particular syndrome or a disease or a problem in the body, the next step would be to select the right editing methodology, the right transport mechanism in order to go and edit those areas and give relief to the patient. So we have the tools and we have the transport mechanism which we are continuing to improve upon. Tools also we are continuing to improve upon. Beyond CRISPR-Cas9, we already have prime and base editing and more to come. And transportation also is increasing. So the next frontier is going to be identifying mutations in human genome which are which are associated directly with various disorders, cataloging them, and then looking at them from the point of view of ease of editing, based on the available editing tools and delivery mechanisms, and then selecting the ones that are easier to accomplish and making therapies for those, getting it approved, while technology for editing continues to evolve. Technology for delivery of the payload continues to evolve, and with the gained experience, more and more genomic abnormalities and mutations will be fixed, and patients will get a lot more better quality of life, and also the cost of these therapies will start to come down. So the takeaway for investors is that if you're an investor in CRISPR or Bluebird or Beam or Vertex or Verve or any of these companies, rest assured that they are targeting the low-hanging fruits right now, and the best is yet to come, and there is more to come in the future. That's point number one. Point number two is that most of these big pharma companies are likely to pick up some of these genomic companies in order to improve their entry into genomic medicine, and that's going to be a second level of lifeline for many of these companies which have got good intellectual properties but no cash to continue their work. So that's going to be the next stage. And then the third stage is going to be the deployment of AI into pattern recognition and coming up with solutions. Now, in my next video, which I'm going to make tomorrow, I'm going to talk more about AI, which is being deployed in order to do pattern recognition and identify mutations in the human genome and link them to various syndromes, and try to make a list of all the possible mutations and all the possible syndromes that they are linked with, so that genomic companies can have a look at it and decide which one they want to pick up to challenge next and add to their pipeline. So friends, that's what my vision is of genomics going forward. And from the point of view of a patient, they should understand that though the progress is slow, we are now getting into a situation where we are talking about addressing the root causes rather than treating the symptoms. So the quality of therapies that might come up in the future is going to be holistic, and it's going to be more permanent and less intrusive. And I'm also expecting that going forward, we'll have genomic solutions to avoid the use of bisulfan and other conditioning agents. And a genomic conditioning agent is going to be much more gentle on the human system, and will also enhance the potential and the ability of genomic therapies to stay in the body and be vigorous enough to address the conditions that they were meant to. So that's what I think, friends. So if you have any other ideas, please do put them in the comments. In my next video, I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence in genomics and where it is headed and how it's going to help us investors in terms of maximizing our return on investment. And also I'll talk about how it's going to help the patients. With that said, my friends, I'd like to bring this video to an end. And I hope you guys are having a great weekend. And I wish you the very best for the next week. Bye for now.